It's not easy being a child star. Besides working long hours on set, many young actors have to worry about maintaining their careers, and unfortunately, not everyone succeeds. What all child stars have in common, however, is that their fans always want to see what they're up to today. You probably first remember Lindsay Lohan in the 1998 remake of The Parent Trap. After that film's success, she starred in 2003's Freaky Friday, before lead roles in Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen and Mean Girls in 2004.
Oh God.
You dirty little liar.
I'm sorry, I can explain. Explain how you forgot to invite us to your party?
In 2007, the former child star was arrested for driving under the influence, and Lohan's career stalled. After moving to Dubai, she opened several beach clubs and announced a new MTV reality show. Unfortunately, in September 2018, she made headlines for posting a disturbing Instagram Live video in which she followed a refugee family around, urging them to allow their 2 sons to stay at her hotel, and subsequently got knocked down by a concerned mother. Amanda Bynes made her debut on the Nickelodeon show All That in 1996. In 1999, she starred in The Amanda Show before branching out into movies with Big Fat Liar, What a Girl Wants, She's the Man, and Hairspray, all while starring on the TV series What I Like About You. But in 2010, she retired from acting. Between March and September of 2012, she was arrested for 2 hit-and-runs, driving under the influence, and driving with a suspended license. In 2014, she revealed that she was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. In a June 2017 interview, Bynes said she is sober and ready to return to acting. After starring in Home Alone in 1990, Macaulay Culkin had lead roles in Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, My Girl, and Richie Rich. He was in Michael Jackson's music video for Black or White, after which Culkin became the godfather to Jackson's kids. Then he just disappeared, resurfacing briefly in the early 2000s with a role in Saved. From 2005 to 2010, he voiced characters on Robot Chicken. And beginning in 2013, he put his focus on his band, The Pizza Underground. He did a short video in 2015 where he played grown-up Kevin McAllister suffering from the trauma of being left home alone. Culkin later signed on to star in Seth Green's Changeland. Mara Wilson is known for her role in 1993's Mrs. Doubtfire, 1994's Miracle on 34th Street, and the title character in 1996's Matilda. Wilson seemed poised to be the next big thing, then the child star quit acting. Instead of acting, she's been pursuing her passion for writing. She released a book called Where Am I Now in September 2016, and in 2016 she voiced Jill Pill on the TV series BoJack Horseman and Liv Amara in Big Hero 6, the series. She has also been vocal about her struggles with anxiety, obsessive-compulsive disorder, and depression, and she is very active on Twitter and Instagram. In 1982, Drew Barrymore stole hearts as the adorable little sister in E.T. the Extraterrestrial before playing Charlie in 1984's Firestarter. She then followed these films up with the 1985 horror film Cat's Eye. With more than 20 credited roles between 1985 and 1995, it was her role in 1996's Scream that served as her second breakout gig. From rom-coms like Never Been Kissed and The Wedding Singer to Donnie Darko and Charlie's Angels, Barrymore stayed busy. In 2017, she starred in the horror comedy series The Santa Clarita Diet, for which she also served as an executive producer.
Let's dance.
Sweetheart, you bought a car and now you're grinding on the neighbors, and this is not who you are.
Maybe it is.
You probably recognize Haley Joel Osment as the boy who sees dead people in M. Night Shyamalan's The Sixth Sense. But prior to that 1999 breakout role, he had made guest appearances on many TV shows. Osment spent the next several years after his 2003 role in Secondhand Lions, primarily doing voice acting for TV shows and video games, including Kingdom Hearts. The former child star also made his Broadway debut and graduated from the NYU Tisch School of the Arts in 2011. He has since made his return to acting with parts in the short-lived series Alpha House, the movie Entourage, Silicon Valley, and Future Man. After playing Veda in My Girl and My Girl 2, Anna Chlumsky appeared in many TV movies and series between 1994 and 2012. She also acted in productions on and off Broadway through 2015, but landing the role of Amy Bruckheimer in Veep alongside Julia Louis-Dreyfus starting in 2012 gave Chlumsky her second big break. Chlumsky's performance garnered her 6 Primetime Emmy nominations for Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Comedy Series. In fact, a scene in which Chlumsky's character goes off on Louis Dreyfus's character is often called the greatest Veep scene ever.
You are the worst thing that has happened to this country since food in buckets and maybe slavery.
Tia and Tamera Mowry are twin sisters who took the 90s by storm with their hit sitcom Sister Sister, which aired from 1994 through 1999. But from that point forward, their careers took different paths. Tia starred as Melanie Barnett on the TV series The Game from 2006 to 2015, then lent her voice to Fresh Beat Band of Spies, and had an arc on the TV series Mistresses. In 2019, she starred in the Netflix show Family Reunion. She also wrote a cookbook to accompany her show, Tia Mowry at Home, on the Cooking Channel. Tamera played shorter-lived roles on TV series Roommates, Things We Do for Love, and Melissa and Joey. The former child star also appeared on the reality series Daytime Divas and served as a co-host on the syndicated talk show The Real. Whether you know her best as Wednesday Addams in The Addams Family, Kat in Casper, or young Roberta in Now and Then, it's safe to say the 90s were kind to child star Christina Ricci. Ricci is one of the few stars who has consistently worked ever since her big break, with multiple acting credits nearly every single year since 1993. From her roles in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, Sleepy Hollow, and Black Snake Moan, to her TV appearances on Ally McBeal, Grey's Anatomy, and The Good Wife, Ricci has been busy. In 2015, she starred as Zelda on Z, The Beginning of Everything, and in 2018, she appeared in the movie Distorted. You probably best know Jaleel White as Steve Urkel from Family Matters, which aired from 1989 to 1998. Since then, White has made guest appearances on single episodes of TV series and has also appeared on Celebrity Family Feud and Dancing with the Stars, among others. White had a role in the Me, Myself, and I television series, has done voice work, acted in the comedy 5th of July, and hosted the game show Total Blackout. He also appeared in The Big Show Show and Raven's Home. Edward Furlong's big breakout was in 1991's Terminator 2: Judgment Day, where he played John Connor. Together with Arnold Schwarzenegger, they worked to save themselves from an evil cyborg. Furlong followed T2 with mostly smaller movie roles and appeared in Aerosmith's music video for Livin' on the Edge. Then in 1998, he starred as Danny Vineyard in American History X. And in 1999, as Hawk in Detroit Rock City. He found himself hospitalized in 2001 of a suspected overdose. A pivotal role in 2011's The Green Hornet could have been a turning point, but he once again found himself in jail. While her breakout role was playing the title role in the TV show Punky Brewster, Soleil Moon Frye may be most recognizable today from her role as Roxy King in Sabrina the Teenage Witch. After Sabrina, she primarily focused on voice acting, working on The Proud Family and Robot Chicken. She hosted Homemade Simple on OWN from 2013 to 2014. She has also had 4 babies and very publicly used Nutrisystem to lose weight following her pregnancies. She signed on for a Punky Brewster reboot because what isn't being rebooted these days? The little boy from Jerry Maguire is all grown up. Lipnicki also had roles on Dawson's Creek and The Jeff Foxworthy Show. He appeared in Stuart Little and Stuart Little 2, though fans best remember him from his role in The Little Vampire. The early 2000s brought Lipnicki mostly small roles and bit parts on TV series, but in 2012, Lipnicki had a 6-episode arc on the series Mother Lover, followed by 8 episodes in 2016 on Interns of Field. He later scored several gigs in 2017, including the horror movies Circus Kane and Beware the Lake. As one half of the 2 Coreys of the 80s and 90s, Corey Feldman was a huge star. His role of Tommy in Friday the 13th: The Final Chapter and Friday the 13th: A New Beginning, followed by his role as Mouth in The Goonies, set him up for superstardom. But by the 2000s, Feldman was relegated to mostly small parts, until once again starring alongside Corey Haim in the reality show The 2 Coreys. Feldman returned to the spotlight after Haim's death when he spoke out about alleged sexual abuse he and Haim suffered at Hollywood parties. In 2016, the former child star appeared on The Today Show to promote an album, a performance that was dubbed bizarre. Just a few weeks later, Feldman and his band returned to the show to defend their performance. In 2017, the band set out on a summer tour. Where in the world did Kel Mitchell go after his widely successful early career on All That, Kenan and Kel, and Good Burger? The former child star lent his voice to T-Bone on Clifford the Big Red Dog from 2000 to 2003, then spent the rest of the early 2000s making mostly small guest appearances on TV series and movies. During his hardest times, Mitchell turned to drugs and alcohol and battled suicidal thoughts. But Mitchell made it through, crediting the survival to a return to his faith. Since 2015, he has starred as Double G on the Nickelodeon show Game Shakers. In 2019, he appeared in the All That revival. Tina Majorino may be best known as the young Enola in Waterworld, the adorable Tony in Andre, or as little Molly in Karina. She also starred as the glamour shot-taking, handicraft-wielding Deb in 2004's Napoleon Dynamite.
And here we have some boondoggle keychains, a must-have for this season's fashion.
After her Dynamite fame, she played Cindy Mac McKenzie on Veronica Mars from 2004 to 2007. She appeared on other TV shows like Big Love, Bones, and True Blood. Her run on Grey's Anatomy as Dr. Heather Brooks thrust her back into the spotlight. She later reprised her role as Mac on the Veronica Mars movie and appeared in the short-lived TNT series Legends and the CBS show Scorpion. While you may remember child star Tom Felton as Little Pea Green from 1997's The Borrowers, chances are you know him best as Slytherin student Draco Malfoy from the Harry Potter film franchise. The role earned Felton 2 MTV Movie Awards for Best Villain and, weirdly, inspired fans to love the villain. While he continued to play a villain in Rise of the Planet of the Apes, he later played Julian Albert on the CW's The Flash. Ariana Grande first appeared as flighty Cat Valentine in Nickelodeon's Victorious, and then in the crossover hit Sam and Cat, opposite iCarly star Jeanette McCurdy. Just a few years later, Grande would relaunch her career as a teenage pop star with a slew of hits to her name. Unfortunately, the devastating 2017 terrorist attack at her show in Manchester, England threw her for a loop. But Grande showed wisdom far beyond her years in the aftermath, using her experiences to create her album, Sweetener. Following his infamous role as Harry Potter, Daniel Radcliffe starred in rom-coms like What If and funky oddities like Horns. Perhaps the weirdest role on the young Brit's resume is when he played a flatulent corpse in Swiss Army Man. Radcliffe also starred on the TV show Miracle Workers. Radcliffe admitted that most people expect him to have a bit of an attitude due to his child star fame, but he seems to be a bit kinder in person than people expect. Kenan Thompson first started his career on Nickelodeon's All That at just 15 years old, before graduating to his own show, Kenan and Kel, at age 18. He stayed until 2000, and in 2003, he joined SNL, where he's currently the longest-running cast member. In 2018, Thompson made it clear that he and his former co-star, Kel Mitchell, never had any real beef. Josh Peck is famous for his childhood role on Nickelodeon's Drake and Josh. Although most people would be embarrassed about their awkward teen years being preserved forever, Peck has taken it in stride, frequently referencing his earlier career on his Twitter and Instagram account. Peck and his former co-star Drake Bell reunited on Peck's short-lived sitcom Grandfather, much to fans' delight. Although Bell wasn't invited to Peck's wedding, it doesn't seem to have affected their friendship, with Bell even hinting that a Drake and Josh reunion could still be in the cards.
Oh, come on, this is cool.
Me llamo Roberto Robato.
Okay, that is pretty cool.
The world first fell in love with Miranda Crosgrove as Summer in School of Rock. The child star later starred as the meddling little sister on Drake and Josh, and then as the titular internet celebrity on iCarly. Cosgrove also lent her voice to movies like the Despicable Me franchise and had a successful music career. In 2017, Cosgrove admitted that she and co-star Jeanette McCurdy had watched old episodes of iCarly to bask in how dorky they both were. Nowadays, the artist known simply as Zendaya is all grown up, but she actually started her career as a dancer opposite Bella Thorne in Shake It Up. Zendaya later became one of the youngest Disney producers ever when she produced and starred in Casey Undercover. The former child star's career later included roles in films like The Greatest Showman and Spider-Man: Homecoming, as well as the HBO show Euphoria. Ross Lynch went from Disney's sweetheart in the hit show Austin and Ally to notorious serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer in My Friend Dahmer. Lynch's performance gained widespread critical acclaim, but that doesn't mean his Disney character Austin Moon is completely behind him. Lynch has suggested that he may be open to a return to his childhood role in the future, but since then, he's also starred as Harvey Kinkle in Netflix's Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Nowadays, Elijah Wood is known for producing oddities like The Greasy Strangler and Mandy via his company SpectraVision. But back in 1993, a 12-year-old Wood was banned by his mother from doing horror movies and anything that didn't give a good impression as a child star. Decades later, Wood, who's starred in projects as different as The Lord of the Rings and Wilfred, is able to act in as many horror movies as he pleases. Wood is interested primarily in the art of filmmaking itself. He simply chooses projects that he wants to be a part of. Hopefully, his mother approves. Shia LaBeouf started his career when he was a little kid, but his breakout role came with the Disney hit Even Stevens. The former child star admitted in 2009 that he first got into show business for purely financial reasons. These days, he's a lot more careful with his words, admitting to an Esquire interviewer that he'd practiced their chat with his therapist. Since then, he wrote and starred in the movie Honey Boy, which was reportedly based on his life experiences. A whole generation is now falling in love with Cole Sprouse's Jughead on Riverdale, but he'll always be known as Cody from Disney Channel's The Sweet Life, Ross's son Ben from Friends, or even Adam Sandler's adopted kid Julian from Big Daddy. Although he's now a bona fide hunk thanks to Riverdale, the former child star insists he went through an awkward stage in college, during which time he quit showbiz and majored in archaeology. Little Kiernan Shipka was a standout in the ensemble cast of Mad Men when she took on the role of Sally Draper in Mad Men at just 7 years old. However, the child star had actually been on the small screen for many years by then, having first appeared in ER at 5 months old. Another massive TV job, fronting Netflix's Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, has assisted in her transition from child to adult performer. While interesting work like the indie horror The Black Coat's Daughter earned her cred as a serious actor. Some people may remember Drake Bell not just from Drake and Josh, but as one of the child stars of The Amanda Show, headed by Amanda Bynes. It was there that young viewers first got to know wannabe rock star Bell, as he shredded confidently on his guitar as Totally Kyle. Bell has been playing guitar since the age of 12. He's released 4 albums total to date and scored a hit with the Latin-inspired Fuego Lento. Most child stars are lucky if they get one iconic character. Melissa Joan Hart got 2. First, Clarissa Explains It All helped us figure out our lives. Then, Sabrina the Teenage Witch made us realize how much cooler our lives would be if we had magical powers. Not content with just Clarissa and Sabrina, Hart fronted another TV hit later on. As an adult, she starred opposite fellow teen star Joey Lawrence in the sitcom Melissa and Joey, which ran for 4 seasons. There are few stars bigger than Hugh Grant to make your film debut opposite, but that's exactly what Nicholas Hoult did in About a Boy. In Holt's late teens, he had another major breakout moment in the celebrated drama Skins. He certainly has no issue getting jobs, appearing in Mad Max Fury Road, portraying author J.R.R. Tolkien in the biopic Tolkien, and playing against type in True History of the Kelly Gang. Although Dakota Fanning has seemingly been performing forever in works like I Am Sam, Uptown Girls, and War of the Worlds, she recently admitted that being a child actor made her more susceptible to doubt. Fanning balanced making movies with attending a regular Los Angeles high school, where she was even a varsity cheerleader. This helped keep her feet firmly on the ground, even as massive roles in the likes of the Twilight franchise thrust her further into the spotlight. She's diversified her roles extensively since graduating to adult acting, appearing in Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and in the dark TV show The Alienist, Angel of Darkness. Bailee Madison has been around for a while, racking up quite a few roles since her debut in Todd Robinson's Lonely Hearts. There was a time when the Bridge to Terabithia child star worried she wasn't doing enough, but she's admitted it suits her better to keep her circle small. Her mother and sister read scripts before she agrees to do them. Bailee Madison had roles as a producer as well as a performer on A Cowgirl Story. Madison relished the challenge, just as she did when she decided to write a young adult novel. The Good Witch star said it was about creating a space for herself where there wasn't one before. For a whole generation of little girls, Winnie Cooper from the Wonder Years was their idol. For a whole generation of little boys, she was their #1 crush. Actress Danica McKellar has worked hard over the years to distance herself from her breakout role. McKellar is a mathematician and best-selling author of math textbooks. McKellar has also found a comfortable spot for herself at Hallmark, featuring in festive fare like Very, Very Valentine and Coming Home for Christmas. Sabrina Carpenter enjoyed a star-making role as the sassy Maya in Girl Meets World.
Maya.
Yes, sir.
Present your homework.
Can't do that, sir.
Why not?
Didn't do my homework, sir.
Why not?
That's what I'm fighting against, sir.
Carpenter signed a record deal at age 12 and has been pursuing both music and acting ever since. Although the former child star is technically following in the footsteps of the likes of Selena Gomez, Carpenter is firmly focused on forging her own path. She portrayed a privileged teen dealing with her own prejudices in The Hate You Give and starred in the dance-focused Netflix movie Work It. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more The List videos about your favorite stars are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.